Do I think a lot of what they're throwing behind a paywall should be a free patch update? Absolutely. But do I still think it's stuff that's great to see in the game? Absolutely as well. I'm definitely happy with the progress the game has made in the past couple of years. All right, the final preview stream just finished moments ago, and I have to say, guys, I am actually very impressed. You know, with the Antelope Valley line, I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I felt like the route was a snooze, honestly. I don't know, maybe it's just not my sort of thing. I just don't like slow-paced gameplay when it comes to Train Sim World. I did enjoy Vorarlberg, I'm not going to lie. The scenery, beautiful, lots of station stops, but you do also get up to speed. But out of all the routes, I absolutely loved East Coast Mainline. I think I'm definitely looking forward to that the most. And also, I can't wait to dive into New York to Trenton, the new timetable. It's launching tomorrow with the Train Sim World 4 early access. It's probably going to be one of the first things that I do, honestly. And of course, I'm going to be giving you guys reviews of the new locos that are coming. The Flying Scotsman absolutely blew me away. I was not expecting to have the kind of reaction that I had with seeing that. That train is an absolute beast. It is powerful. It is fast. It's really big too. Seeing that thing get up to 100 miles an hour, I will say I was a little disappointed with the firemen not animating and shoveling coal into the fire. I'm pretty sure Matt mentioned that that's not implemented or something like that. I don't know if there are any plans to do so, but I really hope that that changes. And also another minor critique that I can think of when they were previewing the Azuma, I do remember early on in the stream when the train was first leaving the station, as it was turning, some of the connecting cables actually weren't connected at all, and they like started to clip and disconnect, and then as soon as the train was realigned again going straight, they appeared to be connected again. I don't know, I can't really describe it, you just have to see it. If you know the part that I'm talking about, if you picked up on it as well, then you know what I'm saying basically. But like I said, it's just a minor critique. Other than that, that doesn't change my thoughts of the train. I still think the Azuma looks amazing, and the fact that it has Rescue Diesel, that's also cool too. There's a scenario for that. We're gonna dive into all the scenarios. We're gonna dive into all the locos, the new routes. It's gonna be a fun week, a fun weekend on the channel here, guys. We're gonna be playing and doing all sorts of stuff. I can't promise any live streams. I don't know how I'm feeling about live streaming, but you guys are going to get videos for sure, nonetheless, and a lot of them. So make sure you're subscribed and make sure you have your notifications on because there's a lot to cover. But today in this video, we have a brand new blog post, UK record breakers and free roam. So a lot is covered here. We're going to read through this. We're going to talk about it. We have some new screenshots, some new images as well. So without further ado, let's dive into this.
Train Sim World 4 is coming September 26th, and with it, the ability to do more with your trains, your way. If you're into UK rail tours, high-speed record breaking and the nostalgia of steam locomotives, then this article is for you as we delve into the details of Flying Scotsman, Laner's Azuma, the East Coast Mainline, and the brand new free roam feature.
Man, the free roam blew me away. I've already talked about this a little bit, I think, but the free roam stream blew me away. Like, there's just so much that's happening. Every time you play, you're gonna get a different outcome with signals and stuff, depending on what you spawn, where you spawn, what track you're on. Looking forward to that, and also just all the new stuff in terms of new routes and new locos, using all the new features in conjunction with it. It's gonna be really exciting.
Early access begins tomorrow if you've pre-ordered Train Sim World 4, Deluxe or Special Editions. We've created a handy forum thread that covers everything you need to know about playing for the first time tomorrow.
I'm gonna have to check that out, but yes, guys, early access starts tomorrow. You're only going to get early access if you pre-order the Deluxe or Special Editions of the game. If you pre-order standard, you don't get the early access. At least that is what I have read. So if you want the early access tomorrow, you gotta pre-order the Deluxe or Special Editions. If you don't do that, you will get access with everyone else. That's if you choose to buy it on release day or pre-order the standard edition. You're going to have access on September the 26th. So I believe that is actually next week. Yes, that is this coming Tuesday, guys. But if you want it tomorrow, pre-order the deluxe and special editions. And I also think you get the soundtrack with pre-ordering one of those as well. I don't remember if it's both or if it's just a special edition, but you will get a soundtrack with one of those as well, which personally I am excited about.
East Coast Mainline, an important artery of the British rail network, appears in Train Sim World 4 in the form of a stretch of the East Coast Main Line. Much requested by players and rail fans over the years, this high-speed line has history but continues to be a crucial part of today's contemporary railway with fast, modern rolling stock to suit. The route, Peterborough-Doncaster. The stretch of this line between the cities of Peterborough and Doncaster brings a variety of services and high-speed running, as well as the longest end-to-end UK route to date. Along the way, the historic Stoke Bank marks the location where the world speed record for a steam locomotive was broken in July of 1938 to 126 miles per hour, 203 kilometers per hour, by the famous Mallard locomotive. Eagle-eyed rail fans may see the commemorative sign flash by both in-game and in real life.
Oh my gosh. Did they mention that during the stream? I don't remember talking about that. Eagle-eyed rail fans may see the commemorative sign flash by both in-game and in real life. Also, a little bit of history here. I didn't know this was the longest end-to-end UK route. I didn't know it was the longest UK route, but this makes me excited. You know, with Train Sim World 3, we had the longest, I think, route just in general when they introduced the ICE1, I believe it was. But now with the introduction of Train Sim World 4 in this route, now we have the longest UK. So what will Train Sim World 5 entail? The longest US route? I don't know. I'd like to see it.
Life. As if one record wasn't enough, it was also through this part of Lincolnshire that world-famous locomotive Flying Scotsman broke the 100 miles per hour barrier on November 30th, 1934. You can read further about Flying Scotsman's inclusion in Train Sim World 4 further down the article.
The pictures look so good too. I can't wait to use the photo mode and adjusting the focal point and the depth of field, the field of view and all of that stuff. Also, oh my gosh, that brings me to a point that I've been wanting to bring up for such a long time in one of these discussion videos. Why do we still not have a field of vision slider or setting for when we're in the cab for if we want a wider view? How do we still not have a setting like that? That's what I want to know. We do have that in Train Sim Classic, right? Yeah, we do. We absolutely do. It's been a minute since I've loaded up that game. But the logo looks beautiful from these pictures. The stream today was amazing. I can't wait to get my hands on it. I can't wait to review it for you guys. I already know I'm gonna love it. I already know I'm gonna love it. Will I find little tiny minor things that I'm like, yeah, I already found one during the stream, but like, that's not gonna change my general perception of the loco as a whole, you know? And I don't think it should for you as well.
Doncaster was where Flying Scotsman was built 100 years ago, along with other iconic locomotive classes such as streamlined Gresley Pacifics and diesel-electric class 50SXS. As well as an extensive railway history, the city today hosts DB Cargo UK's headquarters. Peterborough's place on the East Coast Main Line came as a result of circumstance when Lord Exeter refused to allow the line to be built through nearby Stamford. The city grew as a result, industrializing much in the way other locations did once the railway had arrived on its doorstep.
Interesting. A little bit of history there with this. I guess we can always count on learning a little something from these dovetail articles, right? Matt did talk about crossings in the stream. There are crossings. They are animated. He did mention that they're signal controlled. So as long as you're sitting in the cab, driving the loco, you're not going to see them going up and down because it's probably going to be happening way out of your field of vision. But if you were to spawn in on foot and watch the crossings, they would go up and down, but they do work.
3 intermediate stations are spread between the route's end points, facilitating high speed across most of the route. These are Grantham, the home of England's oldest biscuit recipe, Grantham gingerbread, first made by accident in 1740. Newark Northgate, serving Newark-on-Trent in Nottinghamshire. Nearby is Newark Flat Crossing, the sole remaining standard gauge flat crossing on the British Railway network. Retford, where the ECML crosses the Sheffield to Lincoln line. Retford is one of England's oldest market towns, and the ornate station building is Grade 2 listed.
They've mentioned this flat crossing and how it's the last sole remaining flat crossing on the British Railway network. And during the stream, stream, I was trying to look for it, and I believe it's just north of Newark Northgate, right? Am I correct there? It's either just north or just south of the station, but I do remember them crossing it at some point.
History aside, this part of the ECML offers up a true racetrack section where laner's Azuma can really stretch its legs. With 4 parallel lines, a variety of in-game services can interact with one another, particularly for players with plentiful UK content.
Yeah, there's a lot of layers for this too. Matt was showing that off during the stream today. So if you have a lot of other UK content, there's going to be a lot for you to do. I don't want to assume that it's all playable, but I did see a lot of stuff that was in previous DLC.
The units/locomotives. LNER Class 801 Azuma. LNER is one of 4 new operators to arrive to Train Sim World 4 along with Metrolink, BB, and Railpool. Its addition brings the historic Big Four, albeit some in their contemporary guises, to the game with Southern, GWR and LMS featuring in previous TSW-compatible releases.
This is what I was mentioning. We've got some other familiar names on the route as well. The inside of the cab looks so good. The speedometer thing looked a little weird to me at first because it looks a little lopsided, but Matt said that's actually how it's modeled in real life. So I'm actually really happy that they kept all of those things true to life in the sim. I can't really give my full review until I actually get to sit down and play with it myself, but just judging from the stream and some of these pictures, it looks like things are modeled very, very well.
The Class 801 Azuma was introduced in 2019, replacing previous intercity trains on the East Coast Mainline. Unlike the bi-mode Class 800 variant, used by both LNER and other operators, which can interchangeably use electric and diesel power, the Class 801 uses OHLE, overhead line equipment, for power when in service and is considered an EMU, electric multiple unit. A small diesel engine, which we've incorporated in-game, exists only for emergency use and depot moves.
I'm excited to play around with that too. They were mentioning that it doesn't really go that fast, it's really only meant for emergency use, but I believe there is a scenario or even more than one scenario in-game where you get to actually use the diesel engine, so that's exciting. I think they mentioned like if you have one of the smaller sets, you can go up to like 45 or 50 miles an hour, and if you have a larger set, I think you can get up to like, what'd they say, 30, 35, 40? I don't remember now, but don't think that you can take this logo while it's in diesel mode up to 125, because that is not going to happen at all by any stretch of the imagination.
Both 801/1 and 801/2 variants of the Azuma are included in-game, the former being a 5-car train and the latter being 9 cars long. Both operate along this stretch of the ECML upwards of 125 miles per hour, providing a thrilling high-speed run through Lincolnshire and Nottinghamshire countryside.
Okay, so now this is starting to jog my memory a little bit. I'm pretty sure now that I'm seeing here the 5-car version and the 9-car version set. The 5-car set is the one that can go up to like 50, and then the 9-car one was like 35 or something like that, I believe they said. So a little more with specifics there.
EWS Class 66 and FKA container flat. Included with East Coast Mainline is the weathered EWS variant of the ubiquitous Class 66, as seen in the RHTT Loco add-on, but without the in-cab RHTT control equipment. With both slow and fast lines existing along this part of the ECML, freight services are often seen giving way to faster passenger traffic in passing loops, and this is replicated in the service timetable with a number of playable freight operations.
I like that. So you can play these freight operations, but it's going to take you a lot more time to complete them, because not only are you going slower, but you're going to have to stop and wait for passenger traffic to pass you, because they're going to obviously have the priority, and I would expect them to have the priority, you know? God, this screenshot is gorgeous. The lighting there. Whew. I can't wait to play around with the volumetric fog, even though I know it's gonna kill my computer. I think during the stream they mentioned like there was one freight service that was like, what, 2 hours to 2.5 hours long, because you're constantly pulling off the loop, letting Azumas pass, going back on, pulling off, letting the next one pass. I like that, you know? I will do some freight. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of slow services, slow freight, but when it comes to stuff like that, definitely interested.
As with most parts of the British railway network, the Class 66 is a common sight here, hauling a variety of freight. In Train Sim World 4, The services feature the FKA container flat seen previously in Great Western Express, hosting a colorful array of containers. The EWS Class 66 and FKA container flats come included with East Coast Mainline without the need to own any previous train sim world routes.
Interesting, so I guess they aren't layers then. I assumed that this was a layer, but I guess it's not. Oh yeah, now we're on to the Flying Scotsman. Oh, I'm so excited for this.
LNR Class A360103 Flying Scotsman. Deluxe/Special Edition only. Screenshot taken by James Lewis in Train Sim World 4's brand new photo mode.
Shout out James Lewis.
In Train Sim World 4 Deluxe Edition, players can experience the thrill of operating the world's most famous locomotive Flying Scotsman during its landmark centenary year. Represented in preservation condition, this National Railway Museum locomotive runs rail tour passenger services along the length of the route, with Doncaster being the place at which it was first built back in 1923.
Wow, so 100 years of this thing, guys. 100 years. Well, probably more than 100 years. So you're running National Railway Museum tours on the East Coast Mainline in Train Sim World 4, but what I want to know is, are they doing that in real life? Because if so, I want to do that. I want to take a ride on that thing. Like, that'll be so fun. Of course, Matt also did mention during the stream that this train is modeled in its current preservation state. So you're not seeing the version that it was 100 years ago. You're seeing what it looks like today. And I like that because I'm pretty sure he mentioned that it has safety systems on board. Like, let's go.
In-game, the cab and exterior are faithfully recreated with the relevant safety systems, markings, signage, and gauges needed for extensive mainline running. The MK1 support coach, required for crew and access through the corridor tender, is also featured along with a rake of MK2 coaches typical of those pulled during the countless rail tours it undertakes.
Yeah, this thing also has air brakes too. So I'm pretty sure with the other steam engines we have in game, it's vacuum brakes. I'm pretty sure this is air brakes and vacuum brakes, but you have the option for air brakes. Max speed 75. Oh no, we're taking this thing up to 100. That's what we're doing. We're taking this thing straight up to 100. God, this picture's good too. I was just so blown away. I wish you guys would have seen my reaction while I was watching the stream. Like, my jaw, I was just like the whole time. It's so beautiful. It's modeled so well too. There's so many moving parts, and I'm pretty sure there's even moving parts to this that there weren't previously with other steam engines. I could be wrong. Matt showed off as you move the reverser, you can actually see that being animated on the side of the wheel discs. I don't know if that was previously animated, but he showed it off here with the Flying Scotsman. It's just, oh, it looks so good, guys. Can tomorrow come faster, please?
The story of Flying Scotsman is both dramatic and extensive, with tours taking place in both the USA and Australia, as well as most of the UK rail network, including plenty of routes available as add-ons in Train Sim World. Though some of the new and improved scenario planner features are specific to Train Sim World 4 routes, others like custom start times, weather selection, and introductory text can help take Flying Scotsman elsewhere in the UK along other routes in your collection, such as Great Western Express, Birmingham Cross City and West Somerset Railway.
Wait, so are they saying that the Flying Scotsman is going to be available in service mode with other routes as well, like added on into the timetable? I'm kind of confused here with that. It says including plenty of routes available as add-ons in Train Sim World. Oh, okay, they do mention scenario planner. So maybe that's what they mean, like using the new and improved scenario planner. You can take it on other routes. God, that would be so amazing if they like incorporated some rail tours into other timetables for other routes, you know, with this loco. God, that would be sick.
Services and other features. The timetable for East Coast Mainline follows the current real-life working timetables, and so included is the following. Specific details at different times of day may vary. Hourly London-Edinburgh services in each direction, calling at Newark Northgate, and hourly London Leeds services in each direction, non-stop between Peterborough and Doncaster. Hourly London Leeds service in each direction, non-stop between Grantham and Doncaster. 2 hourly London Newark Northgate services in each direction, calling at Grantham and terminating short at Newark instead of going to Lincoln. 2 hourly London York service in each direction, calling at all stations between Peterborough and Doncaster. 2 hourly London Harrogate service in each direction, non-stop between Grantham and Doncaster. For daily London Bradford services between Grantham and Doncaster, calling at Retford. 2 hourly London Hull services in each direction between Grantham and Doncaster, calling at Retford, covering for Hull train train services. Handful of ECS moves out of Doncaster Hitachi Depot. Additionally, the services between London and Scotland which run non-stop, as well as Lumo and Grand Central paths, are included as AI only, so they can be seen throughout the route, passing through Peterborough and Doncaster non-stop.
Okay, so they have included a lot of stuff that is AI as well. So I guess the route's going to be a little busier than you think just looking at the total number of services when you're hovering over the timetable on the menu, I guess. Because I'm pretty sure it said, what was it like? It was like 200 or 300 something total services. I remember when they were looking, through the timetable. So I guess it's going to be a little bit busier, or at least appear a little bit busier than that. But I really don't know anything about what the services should or shouldn't be because this isn't my part of the world. So I don't have much to say on that, but looks good to me. You guys let me know if this looks good to you or if there should be more that's not represented. See, I can really only speak on this sort of thing when it comes to the Northeast Corridor, which is here. Like, that's my neck of the woods. Like, I'd be able to tell you, oh no, this is not right. We need more services in this. They're not representing half the traffic that we have when it comes to something like Northeast Corridor. But with this, I haven't got a single clue.
All the above uses 5, 9, and 10 car formations as appropriate.
And it looks like we have some information on freight services, Class 66 freight to be exact.
The Class 66 freight services involve the following. For XXX head code container freight services, generally running full-length services between Peterborough and Doncaster, including from yards such as Down Decoy. As with most freight, the origin and destination reach far beyond the represented route, but the names of the services include realistic origins and destinations, such as Tees Dock, Felixstowe, etc. Most services are split into parts where longer waits in passing loops are necessary, and runs outside of the busier passenger times. A fair number of services can also be seen as AI only where freight takes alternative routes between Peterborough and Doncaster, as the main line is too busy at times to support additional traffic.
I can understand that. Some of them will be AI, if they go off to another path, and I can definitely see a lot of these freight services being, active at more non-active parts of the day in terms of passenger service. So probably like early morning or late at night or maybe even overnight, I don't know.
More freight services, 6 XXX head codes, are available, AI and playable, using the JNAs and MFAs from Southeastern High Speed and the BBAs from Tees Valley Line.
So layers, they're basically letting us know layers. If you've got these other DLC, you're going to not only see these trains, but some of them playable as well. I just can't get over how gorgeous this thing looks. Oh my God, it looks so good, guys, so good. I don't know, the Azuma was like at the top of my excitement list, but the Flying Scotsman might be taking it for me. Like, I'm gonna have so much fun on that thing. Oh my gosh. And then using the free roam in conjunction with service mode, maybe even with the Flying Scotsman. Oh my gosh. It's gonna be so much fun. So much fun. I already have so many ideas as to what I'm gonna do.
Using the seasonal services feature, Flying Scotsman features multiple rail tours timed throughout the year. Again, the start and end points reflect the full real-life services. In-game services run only between Peterborough and Doncaster. Jan/February, 1Z87 London King's Cross to York and 1Z90 York to London King's Cross. Mar/April, 1Z72 London King's Cross to York, 2 parts. May/June, 1Z20 Willington to London King's Cross and 1Z22 London King's Cross to Cleethorpes. July/August, 1Z54 London King's Cross to York and 1Z55 York to London King's Cross. Sept/October, 1Z39 London King's Cross to York, 2 parts, and 1Z41 York to London King's Cross. NOV/Dec, 1Z44 London King's Cross to York, 3 parts, and 1Z56 Edinburgh to London King's Cross. There is also a light engine and support coach movement for one of the tours.
Oh wow, okay. I'm kind of confused by this. I honestly have some questions. If you guys know, let me know in the comments below, but it says using the seasonal services feature, Flying Scotsman features multiple rail tours timed throughout the year. So is this depending on when you have your date selected in game that you're going to get these different versions of the rail tours that pop up? I didn't even know that you could do that. I didn't know that changing the time of year would change the services available. Is that what it's saying? Is that what's happening here? Because if so, that's really cool.
These are designed to offer the most amount of variety while respecting the uniqueness of the locomotive. Deviating from these when selecting the services as a player could result in seeing more than one Scotsman at once.
Right, and you're not going to see that.
Along the way there will be plenty of collectibles to find, including the standard route maps as well as first aid defibrillators.
Okay.
Additional service layers.
They also mentioned water bottles. I saw them putting those up in the preview stream, and also the newspapers as well. The character dioramas looked sick. There were people sitting in chairs, talking, drinking coffee, being on their phones. There were little like cafes, and there was like a little sandwich shop, and people were in line. Like, God, I'm just blown away. They've really improved a lot with this game. I'm not gonna lie. Do I think a lot of what they're throwing behind a paywall should be a free patch update? Absolutely. But do I still think it's stuff that's great to see in the game? Absolutely as well. I'm definitely happy with the progress the game has made in the past couple of years.
Additional service layers from previous train sim world routes and locomotives will become available for players that own them once compatible content unlocks on release day, September 26th. We're currently working on optimizing these layers for East Coast Mainline between PC/Gen 9 and Gen 8 consoles to ensure players get the best experience. PC and Gen 9 players will be able to see and operate both playable and AI services from Midland Main Line, Thameslink Class 700 and the Railhead Treatment train by launch on September 26th.
Okay, so basically what they're saying is you're not going to have all the layers unlocked immediately if you've pre-ordered and get the early access by tomorrow, basically. You're not going to have all the layers available until the official release on the 26th. I'm glad they made that known here in this article, because if they would have never said anything, people would have been really pissed about that, honestly.
We will confirm further details and a full list of additional services as soon as we can.
Interesting. Okay, so that's it. They have the East Coast Mainline preview to watch. They have the free roam and all of that stuff here. We don't even need to talk about that. I feel like we've already talked about that. So that's going to be it. You guys have to let me know what you guys think. Are you excited? Are you going to pre-order? Have you pre-ordered? And if you did, which version did you pre-order? Did you get the special edition? Did you get the deluxe? Are you going to be playing early tomorrow? There's just a lot to look forward to with this, guys. I'm so excited for this. I did not think that I was going to be this excited for East Coast Mainline than I am, but I quite sure am. More than the American route that's coming, which is quite a bit of a shocker for myself personally. But that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Take care and happy rail simming.